Hello, I'm Carl Metzger, Chief of Police here at the University of Central Florida, and you're about to find out the important role you play as a Campus Security Authority, better known as a CSA. This short introductory video on being a CSA will provide you the basics of what you need to know to assist in keeping our campus community safe and to meet UCF's federal obligations under the Clery Act. The UCF Police Department would prefer that all crime be reported to us, but that doesn't always happen. Because of this, victims of crime may turn to a trusted UCF employee, like you, for help and advice. For this reason, the Clery Act mandates that college campuses have CSAs in place. As a campus security authority, you serve a critical role in assisting us with protecting our students and the campus community. Although you may never encounter an incident that you would need to report, it is extremely important that you understand reporting obligations as a CSA under the Clery Act. This video, created by the Clery Center as a broad overview for all colleges and universities, will tell you how.
You are a campus security authority. Campus security authorities are defined by the Clery Act and identified by institutions. They're required to report certain crimes and to know their reporting responsibilities.
I think the role of a CSA, why it's so important, is that when there's something that happens and it's something that affected somebody's life, whether it be an employee or a student, visitor, whether that be a crime or some incident, being a CSA and understanding what that means to be able to know your responsibility and role in reporting that so that action can be taken and support can be given, I think is extremely important, not only to that individual, but to the community.
So the CSA role is important to me in my experience in how it creates opportunities for information to be gathered.
It ensures that those of us who are engaging with students, engaging with part of our university community, have appropriate folks around them who are ensuring that they can be here safely, that they can go to a basketball game, that they can go to class, that they can know that they're going to be safe while they're doing it.
Students need to feel a sense of community and support around issues of safety. It's a difficult issue for most people to deal with individually, and some people feel more comfortable approaching different kinds of folks. So I think it's for that age group that we're working with, it's always good to have options and choices for them. If you just tell them, oh, you have to go here, the likelihood of that happening sometimes isn't as great as if you say, oh, here are all your choices and you choose whatever works for you. I think that's the best way to ensure people's safety and that they have a sense of there's a community working on this. It's not just one person's responsibility.
The Clery Act defines campus security authorities, and institutions identify who on their campus falls under that definition, which is a wide range of individuals who typically have a security function or significant responsibility for student and campus activities. As a CSA, the basics of what you share are the nature of the incident, so essentially the information that was reported to you. You also share the date and time it occurred, the date and time it was reported to you, and where it took place. CSAs must report incidents at specific geographic locations. This includes on-campus buildings and property and adjacent public property, but also certain non-campus buildings owned or controlled by the institution or by their student organizations. There are specific Clery Act crimes that must be reported. They fall in 4 broad crime categories.
There's certain, obviously certain clear reportable crimes, some that come to mind, arson or homicide, robbery, some of those higher level ones, but some of the ones we may not think about as often are something like intimate partner violence or domestic violence, stalking, even sometimes alcohol violations. So it can be a pretty broad range. So we don't expect everybody to become an expert on every single crime, but pretty much most crimes we're going to see occur within the university community are going to be classified as a potential Clery crime. But then looking at, especially when it's a victim-based crime, we want to make sure especially those are going to be reported immediately. No, you certainly don't have to be an expert in Clery. There's probably not but so many people who are experts in Clery. It can be confusing to somebody who doesn't, work with it every day. When in doubt, make the report. If it doesn't meet, the Clery guidelines as far as reporting or anything like that, it's still sometimes very good information for us to know to be able to act on.
So your job is really not terribly broad, which is simply to be receptive, to be warm, to be comforting, to take the information and then to send it forward, and to make certain that the student who's reporting to you doesn't have an immediate need for some support themselves.
When someone reports to a campus security authority and the CSA then passes that report along, that then initiates a number of different supports. And the particular supports depend on the person's own role at the university. So there are some specific to students, some specific to faculty and staff. They are all designed to help that person recover and heal from the experience and to continue their life as a part of the university community as strongly as possible.
We have a number of academic supports for students, so if something occurs that's impacting their ability to be a student, whether it's the Student Disability Access Center, whether it's their association dean, whether it's a department chair, we work really closely with them to make sure that they can continue to thrive academically. If they need any flexibility or accommodations within the classroom, that they can have that as well. And so we kind of pride ourselves on being that gatekeeper, and to your point about making sure that doors are open, that there's open doors for individuals who are reporting. If they don't know where those open doors are, kind of leading them to those open doors. And if that's not the right open door to them, I like to think we have a huge hallway that they can continue to kind of find that right space for them and the right supports they need.
Know your area, know your responsibility within your specific department, and know what do I need to do if this comes, and not worry about the large university as a whole, but more of what's my responsibility here to be best prepared if I do receive this information, because it can be potentially life-changing to somebody if they're reporting something like that to you. Especially when somebody whom you feel you have a relationship with, a rapport with, and they tell you something that you feel like you may need to report under these guidelines. And that could be a hard conversation because you don't want to betray their trust that they're confiding in you, but also recognizing within your role, you do have to report this. And it's also the right thing to do.
Yeah, so there's actually a good chunk of training devoted to that notification. What we are trained to do is to interrupt them when we kind of see the conversation leading in that direction, and just
pausing them and saying, "Can I pause you for a minute? It looks to me like you're about to tell me something significant, and I am happy to listen to you, and I want you to know that I am here to listen. I also need to let you know that..."
I do have the obligation to now report this to the university to not only assist you so that they can assist you, but also for maybe the safety of the community as well. So kind of recognizing and appreciating that they're telling you this, but also being upfront with them right off the bat about what your obligations are, to what they have to do with that information.
What I wouldn't recommend is I'm doing this because the government's telling me to, or I'm doing this because I have to, and making it feel burdensome. I think what I would recommend is that talking about the responsibility to report as a way to support that individual. And so I think the primary function is not sharing it as a requirement, sharing this as like, this is something that I have to do, but rather this is something that I want to do to make sure that you that you have the support and that you're getting the help that you need.
That's one of the things I love working in a campus setting, is that we are a community and we can call on each other, because I think safety is a community issue that we all have to participate in. I know it's hard when you're one-on-one with that student and you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to fix this right now. I have to help this student right now. I have to do everything. And that's a real normal reaction that people have. And just to take a deep breath and remember, wait a minute, there's a whole group of people who want to help with this issue and can help with this issue.
So one way to think of this, if I was using an analogy, would be an umbrella. And if you look at an umbrella when it's open, you have all the spokes of the umbrella going out to the ends, right? And the CSAs are all those spokes, all those wires in the umbrella that ultimately channel back up to the top of the umbrella. That's how you have to have that interconnected linkage.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage to report a crime in general. None of us want to be put in that situation or feel that we've been victimized in some way or made vulnerable in some way. So it takes a lot of courage to be able to actually report that. If you get up the courage to report that and then nothing happens as a result, you know, that can feel extremely invalidating.
It's having those everyday interactions that we do with folks, but also knowing that we're a part of something bigger and a part of something greater in terms of just making sure that we're all doing our part to, you know, to make sure that folks can be here and be safe.
Don't be afraid. These are your students. These are your colleagues. You have some type of a relationship where they wouldn't be talking with you. And if you're frightened and upset, then that's going to upset the students or your colleague who's trying to talk with you more. So if you can, just take a deep breath. Trust your relationship with your students, trust your skills, and know that there are a lot of resources to help you.
Your role as a CSA does not have to end with receiving and passing on reports. You can be an ambassador for Cleary every day as a campus security authority. Through the interactions you have with others, the events you attend on campus, you play an active role in your campus community. You help set the tone so that individuals can feel comfortable accessing the network of people and resources available to them. Now that you know you're a CSA, what will you do?
I want to thank you for playing such an important role as a campus security authority. Following the conclusion of this video, you will be asked to share your contact information so we can reach out with the required Clery Act training for CSAs. Additional information, such as the annual safety guide, CSA form, and daily crime logs, can be found at police.ucf.edu under the Clery and Crime Statistics tab. We appreciate all you do to keep our students, faculty, staff, and visitors safe. Remember, safety is up to everyone, so if you see something, say something, and we'll do something. Go Knights, charge on.